some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
And overtime.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Monday Night Football Overtime. Giants, Niners. We thought it was going to be a dud. This is about the fourth or fifth time we thought a game was going to be trash, and it turned out to be awesome. Nice finish. And look, what more can you ask for from a 1-7 team and a 2-7 team? I mean, what more can we ask for, right? You know, a game that comes down to the final play of the game. About 13 points or so scored in the last, let's call it 10 minutes of the ball game. I mean, what more can we ask for? It was Giants and Niners. I mean, little was expected of this game, but we got more than we bargained for. You feel bad for the loser of a game like this because did you see how excited Eli Manning was after this game was over? Did you see how excited the Giants were? These guys work so hard, and I think as fans, we don't really take this into consideration because we're so pissed off either that our team is bad or they didn't get the job done, and we just start pointing the fingers and blaming people for not getting the job done. But these guys put in so much work during the week to prepare to try to win a game. It's got to be debilitating when you go out and you lose. And both of these teams have lost a ton of games this season, haven't won very many. And so when you get a team on the schedule that you think you've got a legitimate shot of beating, if you're the 49ers, feel like you let one slip through your fingers. This was a great opportunity to string together multiple wins, get on a little 2-game winning streak. And maybe, I don't know if they're on their bye next week or what, but we're this far into the season and they haven't had a bye yet. I believe they're now 2-8. So they've got to be hitting their bye week here shortly. If not this week, then in week number 13, I believe, because I think everyone plays in week 12. But like I said, you put in so much effort and so much work during the course of the week to try to win, and to fall short, it's tough, man. It's tough to do that over and over and over again, to put in all the preparation, to put in a game plan, to go out and not get it done. It stinks, and that had to hurt for the 49ers. For the Giants, they're ecstatic. You know, they haven't won a game. When they get their first win of the season? Who they beat? The Texans in like week 3? They haven't won in over a month and a half, close to 2 months. So this has to feel great for the Giants. All of the turmoil that they've been through the last week or so with the Kyle Lauletta arrest, with Eli Manning stinking it up and this offensive line being trash and everyone blaming Eli for all of the struggles of this team, and just them being 1-7, and then the fire sale with all the players being traded, Eli Apple and Snacks Harrison, and we thought more guys were going to be shipped out, but it only turned out to be those 2 players. A lot going on in New York, and here they are rallying together and finding a way to win, and quality win by the Giants. I thought that they were going to have their heads hurt at the end. I said, wouldn't this be fitting, just like the Giants did against the Panthers about a month and a half ago or so, where it looked like the Giants had gotten this comeback win, and they were up, and the Panthers go down the field, get into what was unlikely field goal range. I mean, Graham Gano from 63, who would have thought that it would have been good, 62, 63, and he bangs it home, and they walk off with a win, and the Giants are stunned. And really that was the last of the competitive portion of the Giants season. They had to have that one against Carolina, and they didn't get it. And, this one feels good. If you're the Giants, you got protection tonight. Look, the 49ers don't rush the quarterback all that well. So I thought Eli would have a shot to sit in the pocket and deliver the football. He got time tonight, and he, for the most part, you can tell Eli's still on his last legs. Had Odell wide open, beat 2 defenders on a stutter and go, and Eli threw it way short. You had Saquon down the sideline late, matched up against a defensive end or an outside linebacker. Either way, it's a big mismatch. He's got to step on the defender, and Eli hits the defender in his back. Eli still doesn't have the arm strength you're looking for at the ripe old age of 37, but he found a way to take his team down the field, albeit via penalties. Those were a big help on that final drive. Look, you'll take them any way you can get them. You're not going to give it back. And if you're the Giants, you took full advantage of those opportunities that were given to you by the penalty on fourth down to extend the drive. He hits Saquon Barkley on an option route over the middle of the football field, a nice little Texas route, if you will. Wins against a double team, essentially, beats those guys inside the 15. Evan Ingram, 9-yard catch, and then Sterling Shepard finishing off the game-winning drive with the touchdown grab in the end zone. So they hung in. They were down 20-10 entering the fourth quarter. It looked like they were going to fall again, and they rallied. They got on their horse, scored 20. What did they score? They scored the final 17 of 20 points in this football game, 10 of them unanswered, and got back into this football game and ultimately stole it from the 49ers. So good for them. Offensive line still has their issues. Saquon Barkley, not a great night running the football, averaged less than 4 yards to carry, which, that's the magic number in this league. But nonetheless, they were able to stay somewhat balanced, and that gave them an opportunity to go play action fake, to push the football down the field, have some shot opportunities, and even if you get a pass interference, you'll take it. And they were able to do some things. Odell Beckham able to catch a couple of touchdowns in this game. So Giants get it done. Wasn't the prettiest nor cleanest of wins, but you'll take them any way you can get them, and they get the 27-23 win. If you're the 49ers, you continue to run it well. Another 100-yard performance for Matt Breida. He shows why he leads the league in yards per carry. Only, I think, something like 17 or 19 carries in his game, something along those lines. Over 100 yards, though. That's what this guy's done. George Kittle, I've already told you guys on the podcast at least a month ago that George Kittle was the truth. I had him on one of my segments on my podcast called Enter the 23rd Chamber, which unlocks some of the league's best kept secrets. I gave you George Kittle then. You've continued to see his growth and maturation while they're on primetime television. Had a good game against Green Bay a few weeks ago when they almost stole one from the Packers. Had a great game tonight. Kittle is the truth in San Francisco, and so he was outstanding tonight. I'm not a Nick Mullins fan. I told you I was surprised that he carved the Raiders up the way that he did, but then when you watch the Raiders, you shouldn't be surprised by anything you see versus that Raiders team. But to me, he is as average gets. I like his exuberance, though. He's a guy that you can tell loves the game of football, plays it with a lot of excitement, and he's got a childlike excitement for the game. And so I like that. I like watching that. But there's only so much you can do with Nick Mullins at quarterback. So, it's only fitting that they lose this football game. I don't want them to get out of control. I think the last time they were on television, matter of fact, it was last Thursday, and they won the game, and some Niners fan asked me, should I, or just, I don't think it was a Niners fan. I just think it was a fan in general. Somebody was probably being funny. I think it might have been Atlas, too. Atlas can be a jerk at times. Atlas is my guy, though. But, it might have been Atlas being facetious, talking about, should I be worried about, and he didn't even say his name right, so I know he was playing around. But then there was a Niners fan, though, that did ask me, should I be excited about Nick Mullins? I'm like, bruh, it's Nick Mullins. What are you talking about here? Like, stop. It's Nick Mullins. No. So I had to cool his ass off tonight, take this L. I'd much rather see C.J. Beathard in there, to be honest with you. I think he gives them a better shot to win. But they like Mullins. They want to see what this guy can do. They said he's earned this opportunity. So let's see what he does. But I think he's a little antsy sometimes, especially when nothing's available. If George Kittle isn't open, which seems to be his first, second, and third read, he seems to panic. Then he gets antsy. Then he's just looking for a check down. And I thought that some of the balls, and the second pick that he threw, the one off the hands of Godwin or Goodwin, I'm not sure whose fault that was. I don't remember if it was zone or man, so I can't tell you exactly what should have been done. Obviously, if it's zone, then it's the fault of Goodwin, who needed to sit down, and that's probably what Mullins was expecting. If it's man, he's supposed to keep going, and then that's a bad throw, a bad ball by Mullins. But I don't remember what the coverage was, so I can't sit here and place any of the blame. Bottom line is the two picks were avoidable picks, and those are the kinds of mistakes, and that's why I've been trying to explain to Redskins fans, when you play the kind of football that's low scoring, that's defensive, that's, you got to limit the mistakes. A turnover or two here or there can be the difference in a ball game. Now, the Giants didn't score any points off the second turnover, but what it did was it flipped field position. Giants were able to pin them deep and ultimately got good field position the second time that the punt was forced. So those types of things, even though you may not get points off it, it does impact the game. The first interception led directly to a touchdown. A couple plays later, Odell Beckham Jr. back of the end zone. ODB, shame on you if you step toot, the old dirty Beckham. Touchdown. And so those mistakes get you beat. And in a game where it's two bad football teams, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes probably going to win the game. Tonight, that was the Giants. They made the least amount of mistakes. They avoided a catastrophe on an interception early by the lineman diving and catching a football, which is crazy. But it's those kind of plays that could have saved them. It was 3-0 at that time. That would have given the 49ers excellent field position. Who knows what happens if they're able to get that interception? Instead, it's simultaneous possession, which always goes to the offense. And they had to punt, and they were able to pin the 49ers deep and make them drive the length of the field. So, again, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, especially when it's this evenly matched, you're talking about 1-7 versus 2-7. When you get a game like that, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes probably going to win the game. That team tonight was the New York Giants, and they were able to overcome a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to become victorious in this game, 27-23. And I feel like, they're building something in San Francisco. These losses sting, though. Even though you're building something and you understand that you're missing a bunch of pieces, these kind of losses, they hurt. I know Kyle Shanahan is a competitive guy, and I know John Lynch is a competitive guy. They want to win. And I tell this to the Redskins fans all the time. The Redskins fans get upset because what we're doing doesn't look pretty. It doesn't pass the eye test. It's not aesthetically pleasing. You don't get kudos and brownie points in the media for winning 16-3 on the road against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that is averaging, over 30 points a game. Yet, all I care about is winning. You want to establish a culture. I don't care if we get to the playoffs, get a home playoff game, and lose by 35 in the first round. I don't care. I just want to go to the playoffs. Why? Because then the expectation isn't, let's just be competitive. Let's just try to make it to the playoffs. The expectation is, no, we're supposed to be in the playoffs. Let's win some games in the playoffs. Right now, because we suck, the expectation isn't, let's go in the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. You gotta take these little steps first. You gotta learn how to walk. The expectation for me right now is, I just want to make it to the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, the playoffs. I just want to get in. So the 49ers are trying to build a culture. And when you continue to lose games like this, it's tough to build the culture that you're looking to instill. So I know that this hurts Kyle Shanahan. He preaches and stresses winning. But, they've been on the short end of a lot of these close games. I can think of the Chargers game that they had a golden opportunity to win on the road. I can think of the Packers game, another golden opportunity to steal one. Obviously, this game slipped right through their fingers. You're talking about 3 games that they had the lead in the fourth quarter, could have easily have won any of those contests. And instead of being 2-8, you're looking at a 5-5 ball club. That changes everything drastically. But when you don't know how to win, when you don't have that winning culture, it stings. So this one hurts if you're the 49ers because you're trying to win. That's why Jimmy G coming on board and leading them to a 6-game winning streak at the end of the season, that's why that was so important. It established an expectation. We're supposed to win around here. That's why the NFL got excited and put the 49ers on primetime 5 times. Because the expectation was now, hey, they should win. Look what Jimmy G did last year. It's tough when you're not winning. It's tough for the message to get through to the players. When we're doing the same shit over and over again and we're still yielding losses, it's hard to get them to buy in. So it's tough. But Giants get the win. A lot of turmoil over there. Nice for them to finally see the scoreboard reflect all the hard work that they've probably been putting in. And now both of these teams lead the game with 2 victories on the season. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. Atlas says, rigged. Refs handed the game to the Giants. There you go with the rigged nonsense. Why do the referees give a shit if the Giants win this game? Can you explain that to me, please? What's the benefit of the Giants winning this game? Who does that help? Why do the officials care who wins the game? It's not like they have any vested interest in either one of these two teams. If anything, it'd be the 49ers. You know, they're the more lucrative franchise. They're, quote unquote, one of the teams that the league is better off if they're good. So it wouldn't benefit the league to have the Giants win this game. It'd benefit them to have the 49ers win this game. But again, I digress. Anyway, Angry Birds of Chaos. Louie, we are enemies this week. My Texans taking on your Redskins. A win can go either way. I guess we will just have to see which way it goes. You're absolutely right. I think we're two evenly matched teams. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you're 6-3, we're 6-3. Our 6-3 looks eerily similar. You're barely winning games. You're barely scoring enough points. So are we. You play exceptional defense. So do we. I expect this to be a knockdown, drag out. And the team that makes the least amount of mistakes probably going to win that game on Sunday. Best of luck to you. No, I'm lying. I don't wish you any luck this week. After this week, all the luck to you and your Houston Texans moving forward, but not this week. Gregory Lightbody says, how does this affect the NFC East? It doesn't. The Giants could win their next 5 games. It would not have any impact on our division whatsoever unless the other teams in the division slip up and lose their next 5 games, and all of a sudden you got yourself a divisional race. But the Giants are dead. Dead, I tell you. So this doesn't impact the division whatsoever. Not a bit. John Perez says, before we get to football, I bring sad news that the great Stan Lee of Marvel Comics has died today at the age of 95. Great man with a great mind and a true legend. RIP. Absolutely did see that a little bit earlier on today. Stan Lee was a definite genius when it comes to the world of comics, Marvel Comics, that is, and he will definitely be missed. Larry G's the best says, is Greg Kittle the best tight end in the NFC? Have you forgotten a guy that we watched just a night ago? Like, how soon do we forget? Zach Ertz is the best tight end in the NFC, hands down, not up for debate or discussion. Case closed. All right? John Perez says, saw the ending of the game. Good to see Eli and the Giants get a win under his belt. No, it's not. They're the Giants. They're one of our sworn enemies. I don't want to see them win a damn thing. But anyway, Emperor Meat says, we won a game? I'll be damned. Yes, you did. At this point, you'll take any one you can get, man. It feels good when you get one, and you got one tonight. Larry G's the best says, you heard that crazy ass firestorm in Cal. What if it was close to the stadium? What do you think? They probably would have moved locations. They probably would have gave the home game to the Giants. Sometimes when these things happen, they play the game at a neutral site because they don't want to give the advantage to the road team. Like, you remember what happened when Katrina came and they moved the game to like the Lion Stadium, you know, and that's where they played that particular game. It was too close for them because you remember a lot of people were actually living in the Superdome at the time. So they would have probably done something like that. They were talking about postponement. Had the levels been a little bit more unsafe, they probably would have moved the game to like Tuesday or something like that. They've done it in the past. And then they would have probably moved it to a neutral site location, one that probably wouldn't have benefited the Giants, but been probably a little bit closer to San Francisco. They might have even moved it to where the Rams play the Coliseum, or they might have moved it to StubHub Center where the Chargers play, if those areas weren't as affected. So that's probably what the move would have been, is my guess. Captain Spartan says, Rams cut my man Jason Brown, went to the same high school. Their offensive line struggles. Some of late, he says, Giants pick him up and their O-line improves big time. Good for your friend. Always good to find work, man. Always good to find work. Reese says, what a clutch grab from Saquon on the last drive. That was a big one. Ali Side says, big thanks for the number 1 pick. Raiders finally got a W. Big win for the Raiders. They're looking to get that number 1 pick, and they're well on their way. I think the Raiders might be the worst team in the league now. They're playing the Cardinals, another team that stinks, and I think the Cardinals are going to beat them. So I think the Raiders are well on their way to the number one pick in the draft. Truly believe that. JP says, didn't see much of Sherman on Odell in this game. That was the one-on-one matchup I really wanted to see. Like, Odell and Dick Sherman is so, like, 3 years ago. Like, at this point, don't really care about it that much, honestly. That's like Norman and Odell. Like, don't really care about it. Yeah, that was such a 2 years ago matchup. So, like, last year. Like, I don't care. I don't care about that. FBG Tony says, great game. I'm happy I actually watched. Impressive by the Giants, especially Eli and the O-line. Look, I told you guys, it's free football. Don't turn it down. You guys seem to not understand that we're in Week 10. That was the final game of Week 10. We're heading into Week 11. It will be Thanksgiving next week. Speaking of which, this is my last week before the bye. Remember, I don't work during the week of Thanksgiving, so there will be no coverage at all come Week 12. So don't look for me. So you'll get Thursday night football overtime. You will get Sunday night football overtime. And you will get lockdown coverage on Monday. And then you will get nothing else from me the following week. So just be mindful of that. Let me remind you today. I'll remind you on Thursday. I'll remind you again on Sunday. So you're not looking for me. So you're not, hey, Louie, where's the Redskins Rapid React? Where's the Thursday night football overtime? You're not looking for me. I'm on a bye week. Week 12, always my bye week. Just so you know. But I'm trying to warn you guys, the end of the season is near. We're in week number 11 now. This game completed week 10. We're in week 11. You shouldn't be turning down any free football. If they're handing you free football, you should be consuming it as much as possible, because soon you'll be crying that you have nothing but NHL and NBA and college basketball to watch. So take it all in. I don't give a shit if it's Cardinals at the damn Raiders. Take it. All right? Watch it. Indulge in it, because it's going to be gone before you know it. But anyway, we've had some really good primetime games. Even the ones that we've thought were going to be duds have actually been pretty good. We've had one or two duds. Cardinals and Broncos was a stink fest. We've had a couple of those. The 49ers and the Raiders last week, trash. But for the most part, we've been able to sidestep a lot of the trash that we thought we were going to get and actually got some gems. And, the offensive line of the Giants played well, and I think a lot of that is due in part to the 49ers just not being able to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. That's not what they do, and they were able to create a pocket for Eli, and he was able to deliver the football tonight. So good for them. Stormtrooper says, Giants just lost the Boza sweepstakes. Now they have to take he said they have to take a QB now, right? Well, season's not over, and we don't know where these players are going to lie when it's all said and done. If you're the number one pick in the draft, the first position you have to take a look at is quarterback. If you're the Raiders and you can save $15 million by cutting Derek Carr, aren't you going to explore that option? They've cut everybody else. They've traded everybody else. Why the hell not? If you're the Giants, you got Odell, you've got Saquon. Don't you think you need to look at the quarterback position first? So I think anybody at the top of the draft, not named Arizona, not named San Francisco, is going to take a look at the quarterback position first. Now, that ultimately doesn't mean that they'll decide on a quarterback, but if you're the Giants, if you're the Raiders, you have to take a look at quarterback first. So I don't necessarily know if it's the Boza sweepstakes. Don't forget about Ed Oliver. Like, everybody's talking about Boza this and Boza that. Don't forget about Ed Oliver. Like, this guy, it could be Aaron Donald 2.0. If he is, in fact, that kind of player, can you turn that down at number one? So, like, let's not get into who's going to do what. It's too early for that. You know, I don't talk draft this time of the year anyway. But I'm just saying, everybody's going Boza sweepstakes. I'm not so sure about that. This isn't like the Suck for Luck campaign where you knew Andrew Luck was going to be the number one pick. No doubt about it. Boza's not a shoo-in to be number one. So, I don't know. Anyway, RG3 hashtag says, it's confirmed the Raiders getting that first overall pick because the Giants beat themselves out of that first overall. Look, the Raiders could win one more game. And then it could get really interesting because I don't know if the Giants are going to win many more. I surmise that the Giants will win 1 or 2 more games, though. So you're probably right. I think the Raiders are the worst team in football. So you're probably right. The Raiders are probably going to secure the number 1 overall pick, but we will see. Ali Side says, what team is getting that number 1 pick? I just said that. Reese says, we cut Chandler Cantanzaro, can't kick Azaro, and brought in Cairo Santos, Lou. I've heard his name, but I don't know much about him. Care to clue me in? Is he an upgrade now? The Cairo Santos that I knew in Kansas City was a beast. Guy rarely missed, was very accurate. The Cairo Santos that I saw last, not the same guy. And what happened to him was he sustained an injury in Kansas City, was kicking his ass off prior to the injury. He gets injured. They bring in Harrison Butker, a kicker that had been drafted elsewhere, was cut. They bring him in. He kicks his ass off. They realize, got a stronger leg, probably a better kicker than Santos. All right, Cairo, nice knowing you. Appreciate the work you put in. You got to go. Cairo Santos is on the streets. I see Cairo's resurface a month or 2 later. Not the same guy. He gets cut again. I don't know Cairo Santos anymore. So you're going to find out. I don't know. Can't really tell you. I can tell you this. If he's back to the old Cairo Santos, you got yourself a damn good field goal kicker. If he's the guy that I saw last, all I can do is shrug my shoulders and say good luck. Emperor Meach says, we still don't use Barkley correctly. He says they don't split him out wide enough. It's like they're allergic to getting him out in space. This is true. You know, when you have a weapon like Saquon Barkley, you have to get the most out of him. And right now, I don't believe you're getting the most out of Saquon Barkley. I don't think you're putting him in the most advantageous situations for him to be successful. But we'll see what happens moving forward. I don't know if they feel like they're limited in what they can do and what they can call. But I agree with you. They don't split him out enough. They don't do enough with him creatively to get him in space and give him opportunities. JP says, did you notice Barkley changes his cleats because of the field conditions? Yep, we all saw that. Stormtrooper says, disparity between the best team and the worst team in the NFL this year is insane. It's pretty much like that every year, though. I mean, every year the Patriots are one of the last teams for their right-hand O to go. And, you know, the Browns have been the worst team the last couple of years, and the disparity between 14-2 and 0-16. I mean, what are we really saying here? I guess you could say that the Browns were in ball games and could have won 3 or 4 of them, and they didn't. Whereas the Raiders just stink. But I mean, what are we talking about? Apples to apples. The disparity. It's all the same to me. FBG Tony says, good win by the Giants, but they still suck. LOL. Nick Mullins looked aight tonight. He says they found themselves a good damn backup quarterback. CJ, time to look for another job, homeboy. I actually like CJ Beathard better. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I'm not a Nick Mullins guy. But okay. Captain Spartan says, I know not everyone is a star, but what's with the 49ers first round defensive line? Disappointing so far. Also, how Joshua Garnett doing? Don't think I saw him tonight. I'm not even sure if Joshua Garnett is even still in San Francisco, to be honest with you. I thought they traded him already. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I'm with you. I think the first round defensive line experiment that they conducted in San Francisco has been somewhat of a disappointment. I think the better of the two is DeForest Buckner. He's the one that I think really has some staying power in this league. Eric Armstrong, I never was an Eric Armstrong fan. You can go back and watch my draft wrap-up when he was drafted. He's okay, but I tried to convince myself that he was better than okay because of how high he was drafted. I'm not an Eric Armstrong fan. He's just big. I prefer DeForest Buckner. Defoe is a player. I like him, but I don't think he's worth a top 10 pick. So, you know, it is what it is with those big guys. And even the Stanford guy, I thought he would be better than he's been in his first 2 years. But you know how I am. I'd like to give guys every opportunity to prove their worth. And it's too early to start throwing around B words. But Solomon Thomas hasn't been that great to me either. And I haven't seen a bunch of flashes. So been a little bit disappointed in him as well. JP says, can't wait to hear your Redskins report breakdown of the Texans game. That's a huge matchup that nobody's going to give us a chance to win. And he said, but we like it like that because we win. I think people are going to give us a chance. We're pretty evenly matched with the Texans, but we'll see what happens. Reese says, Nick Mullins isn't half bad, Lou. He seems all right. That's fine. I agree with that statement. He's not half bad. He's just not great. And he's a backup in this league. We've seen the backup quality in this league. It's not great. So, FBG Tony says, George Kittle is a dog. I've been telling anybody that would listen that for a long time. Captain Spartan 04 says, feels like every time I watch an NFL show or a game, they always bring up Le'Veon Bell or James Conner. Yeah, that's pretty accurate because the Le'Veon Bell situation has been so polarizing. You're either on one side of the fence or the other. And this week is the final week he can show up. If he doesn't show up by tomorrow, then he can't play this year, can't sign the franchise tag. And so I don't think he's going to show up. I thought all along he would show up. I've been wrong at every turn of this situation, even down to James Conner being good enough to get it done. I've been wrong about that whole situation. So I'm done guessing. I'm done trying to figure out what's going to occur. And I'm just going to say that whatever happens, happens. And so I'll be on the lookout for it tomorrow to see if he shows up. I highly doubt it. But again, I've been wrong the entire time. So I'm not the guy you want to listen to for this situation. But yes, I'm with you. Every telecast, it seems like they bring up Le'Veon Bell and how much money he's missed out on by not showing up. I think he's done the right thing. I'm with Booger McFarland. The Steelers were just using this guy up. Every year, this guy was over 300 touches, and they were just using the hell out of him. Had no intentions of giving this man a long-term deal that was worth his value. Just let him go. So we'll see what happens next year. Reese says, why is Dork Cutter sticking with Fitz, Lou? Season is over. Let's see what Jameis has. I think he understands what Jameis has, and he realizes that Jameis is going to get him fired. Fitz gives you the best chance to win. That's the only business that he's in. Seeing what Jameis has, he's not going to be around to be able to take advantage of the fruits of that labor. It's not like he is a coach that's going to be around for the next 5 years, so let's see what Jameis has. He puts Jameis in, and he continues his turnover streak. I think he's got 5 straight games of 2 or more turnovers. You put his ass in, and he continues to turn over. Now, granted, it's 50-50. He's going to turn it over too. But he's also going to run, and he's also going to keep plays alive, and he's also going to give you a shot to win. And he realizes that his only chance of keeping his job is to win and to win big, and the only guy that can do that for him is Fitzpatrick. He realizes that, and so that's why he's sticking with 50-50. I know as a fan, you want to see Jameis because you spent the number 1 overall pick on him, and you want to figure out if he's the guy or not. But that's not the problem of the head coach who's on the hook to be fired at the end of the season. His only objective at this point is to win and win now. And the quarterback that gives him the best opportunity to do that, unfortunately enough, is 50-50. Emperor Meat says, yo, stop dumping on Nick Mullins. The man is a beast. Right. Atlas says, you got me pegged right, Lou. I'm just being facetious. I know. We've been doing this for a long time, Atlas. We've been doing this song and dance for a very long time. So I know your sense of humor, so I know what you're trying to do. J Cam Man says, 49ers have had a pretty good run of good primetime games this year. It's uncanny. You're right. And they haven't disappointed us. Remember, after the injury to Jimmy G, we were all gloom and doom. Oh, my God, they've got 5 primetime games. What are we going to do? Well, the Sunday Night Crew, NBC is taking care of a couple of those for us, flexed them out of there. And Monday night, they're stuck, but we've actually gotten 2 gems, the Green Bay game and this game tonight. So pretty safe to say we've dodged a major bullet with the 49ers this year. JP says, we had some really insane penalties at the end of this one. Officials are so antsy these days. I actually didn't see the holding call. I saw the call on Odell. That was a penalty. Like, you know my pet peeve. You got to turn around and locate the football, man. So these guys aren't looking for the football. What do you expect the officials to do? You face guard, you heighten your chances of getting flagged for PI. Guys will understand that one day, but right now they just haven't figured it out. J. Cameron says, I predicted Giants and winners and losers. Big win for you. And this was a rough week. And it's crazy because I thought this would be an easy week. I thought 2 or 3 losses max for most people this week. Man, this is a 5-6 loss type of week if you just pretty much went chalk. And a lot of upsets this week. RG3 hashtag says, where's Eric Flowers? Eric Flowers has been released, if I'm not mistaken. He's out of there. He's gone. I don't know where he ended up, but he's somewhere in the league. You get drafted as a first-round pick, you find work somewhere. J. Cam Man says, if you're looking for a new QB to compete with Alex Smith, just to let you know, Nathan Peterman was cut today. Hey, I'm good, and the way Nathan Peterman has performed, he may never get another crack in the NFL. Never. That's unfortunate, but it's pretty bad. Emperor Meat says, Giants play Tampa Bay next week. They're about to go right back on that losing streak, and JPP about to look like Von Miller out there. Facts. Yeah, facts. Ricky L says, what's up, Lou? Leave Nick alone. I take him over a QB that thinks they are started, i.e. Brock and Sam Bradford, LOL. Hashtag Lab Room fam. Hey, look, man. I hope y'all think I'm not dumping on Nick. I'm just trying to cool Nick's whole that whole momentum building for Nick Mullins. Let's cool that shit off, man. It's a nice story. I think it's excellent that the man has worked his way from practice squad player to starter. That's awesome. Love the story. Love his exuberance, as I mentioned before. But he's an average quarterback. He's very antsy. I don't always think he makes the best decisions for his teammates. And I think he could be a guy that could be a quality backup in this league, and that's fine, But I'm not dumping on the dude. I'm not talking about him like he doesn't belong in this league. I just don't think he's all that special. So there's that. JP says, it still sucks that Jimmy G isn't going to be playing until next year. It is. It truly is, because he needs this work. He needs to be getting his work in. And unfortunately, he's not getting that chance right now. Reese says, I bet Dick Sherman feels like a turd for choosing the 49ers in Austin. Well, no, I really think that there weren't as many opportunities out there for him, and the money that was going to be paid to him. I know a lot of people say that the contract he signed wasn't all that great, but I think he did want to stay in the division. He wanted to try to stick it to Seattle, but we'll see. I don't think he regrets it. He knew what he was getting himself into. He knew the 40. I will say this. He may not have known that Jimmy G was going to get hurt, and he may have been buying the Jimmy G hype, and he may have thought that they were actually going to be pretty quality this year and that he could help them maybe get over the top. So I take that back. FBG Tony says, agreed, Lou. Let's get it in. I don't care how, I just want in. Hashtag HTTR, ho. Captain Spartan 04 says, feel like the Giants be scraping for crumbs at the receiver position with Roger Lewis and Quandre Henderson, Corey Coleman, Benny Fowler, and half the time Sterling Shepard. Yeah, they are, but that's at the back end. Don't lump Sterling Shepard into that group. Don't do that to him. He's much better than the rest of those bums you just named. But yes, I feel the same way. They definitely go shopping for table scraps at the back end of their receiver core. And so all those guys you named, I can't defend any one of them. Corey Coleman didn't look half bad tonight, though. Just saying. What up, Lightly Phenomenon? Atlas says, clearly Eli slipped a couple of Benjamins to the ref. That's why. J. Cam Man says, game was not rigged, but holy crap, there were a ton of flags at the end. Giants kind of win the Patriots' way. The 20th Mike says, can the Giants come back in this division and still make... okay. Emperor Meach says, the Giants are one of the flagship franchises in the NFL and third in total revenue. Watch your mouth, sir. I'm just telling you that the Giants are not more revered in NFL lore than the San Francisco 49ers. That's all I'm saying. Your franchise is historic, okay? But the 49ers have won 5 Super Bowl championships. They were the team of the 80s. Bill Walsh is highly regarded and revered as one of the greatest offensive minds this sport has ever seen. There's an offense pretty much named after him, and the West Coast offense was his baby. And the league has evolved from that offense. The 49ers have given us Joe Montana and Steve Young and Jerry Rice, arguably three of the greatest players we've ever seen in the NFL's history. I know the Giants have Lawrence Taylor, and they have a ton of players that you can combat that with. I'm just telling you, the 49ers, it's not coincidental that the 49ers win 6 straight games to finish 6-10 last year, and they get 5 primetime games the following year. That's how highly regarded they are in this league. That's all I'm saying. Not disrespecting your Giants, just trying to elevate and show that the 49ers are one of the premier franchises in this league. That's all. Colts fan says, my Colts are going to the postseason for sure. You're playing good football. Oh, yeah. While I'm here and I got your ear, lockdown coverage already out, already available on iTunes, Stitcher, on Google Music Play, on the website, louietnetwork.net. So check out lockdown coverage. Have broken down every non-primetime, every non-Redskin game from week number 10 in the National Football League. So if you get a chance, check out lockdown coverage. Talked about the Colts. Big matchup for the Colts coming up this week at home versus the Tennessee Titans. Titans on a 2-game winning streak, playing exceptional football, just fresh off the demolition of the New England Patriots. Meanwhile, Colts on a 3-game winning streak of their own and have a chance to get back to 500 on the season after starting 1-5, a win versus the Titans. And they're 5-5 and right back in the thick of things in the AFC South division. Captain Spartan says, I'll take a wild, he said, I've got a wild take that will make you happy. Stanford tight ends overrated. Kobe Fleener still a free agent. Austin Hooper did nothing in Kyle's offense, but Kittle is going off. I actually like Austin Hooper and what he's doing in Atlanta. He's having a breakout season this year. So Stanford tight ends, you could argue, are a little overrated. I'm a Notre Dame guy. I think our tight ends are better than Stanford tight ends. So there's that. But in any event, Stanford tight ends have garnered a lot of attention over the last 5 to 7 years. And the Cowboys have the latest one that they drafted in the 3rd round, I believe, 3rd or 4th round. So they've got another Stanford tight end on their roster. FBG Tony says Zach Ertz is one of the 3 best tight ends in football. John Perez says, do you think Eli would announce he's retiring during the season and take a farewell? No, he wouldn't do it because I think he still thinks he can play. I'm not even sure that he's ready to hang it up yet. Ricky L says, watch the Pats pick up Peterman and he becomes the second coming of Tom Brady. That's that Patriots shit. There's no fixing what Nathan Peterman has going on. Emperor Meat says, how do you feel about the Bengals scapegoating the DC for that ass whooping yesterday? Anyone other than Marvin, I guess. Hey, look, man. Bottom line is that defense stinks. The reason that they're 5-4 right now is because of that defense. The reason that they're probably going to miss the postseason is that defense. They got 40 some odd points put on their head versus the Chiefs, 50 burger versus the Saints, 30 some odd points versus the Falcons. Any offense that's elite that can score, you're going to put up 30 plus on the Bengals. Probably 40, as you've seen. They stink on defense. And they've got one of the worst 3rd down defenses in the league. You can't win with the way they're playing defense. Somebody's got to pay for that. And if it's a defensive coordinator, I'm all for it. We'll see if any changes are made. But you know how it goes in Cincinnati. Marvin doesn't take the blame for much of anything, but I don't know if this is actually his fault. I really don't. Angry Birds of Chaos says, you think the Jags will draft a QB if Bortles continues to struggle? They may. Bortles didn't struggle. You guys didn't watch the game, obviously, but Bortles played well. They didn't lose the game because of Blake Bortles. They lost the game because they couldn't hold on to the damn football, and Josh Lambo missed his first field goal in like 800 attempts. You got Rashad Green fumbling the football late in the game when they were already in field goal range and probably going to score a touchdown. So Blake Bortles played his ass off yesterday. Blackbird Blitz says, need to work on his white girl impressions. I don't want to do that too many more times, so I'm not gonna work on those. Hey, JP says, what, we get no rapid react on Sunday? Not this Sunday. You will get one this Sunday. You won't get one next Sunday or Thursday. You won't get one for the Thanksgiving game. You won't get any kind of breakdown for the Cowboys game on Thursday on Thanksgiving. That's the game you'll be missing out on. Colts fan says, is Andrew Luck not a top 5 QB right now? No, I can't put him in the top 5 right now. I don't even know who's in the top 5. I know Andrew Luck is not. I mean, I can tell you right now that Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes probably head the list of quarterbacks in the league right now at the level they're playing. And don't forget Drew Brees as well. It should be in that MVP conversation. So you got 3 right there. Obviously, you got to throw Tom Brady in that mix, so that's 4. There's probably at least 4 more guys lined up for the 5th spot before you even get to Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's a top 10 quarterback, though, for sure, but not a top 5. Ree says, do you have to improvise your Thanksgiving due to going vegan? Yeah. I don't improvise it. Improvise would be the right word. Because I just substitute ingredients into my favorite dishes to make it vegan. That's pretty much, it's called veganizing a dish. That's essentially what I do. I veganize my yams or my sweet potato casserole, if you will. I veganize my stuffing. I veganize the meats that I eat, essentially. That's my cranberry sauce is veganized. That's what I do. So, yeah. Cloud says, I'm sick of this season, man. Hey, you can't be a sore loser, bruh. You're not going to win every year. You won a Super Bowl. You should be happy, okay? So this isn't your year. Enjoy the football. Anyway. Blackout B says, what it do, Lou? During the telecast, they were talking about the Niners fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. What teams still employ a fullback, and what's the benefit of using one? If your running back runs better in front behind a fullback, that's the usage that you get out of a fullback. There are teams like the Saints that still use a fullback. They've got sack line. If you've got the Chargers who use one of the Watt brothers. I think he's not an initial guy. I think he's got an actual whole name like Brandon Watt or something. It's not Brandon, but it's a Watt guy out there. Those guys really help clear the way. Not a lot of teams run out of the I formation anymore, but the running backs that are comfortable, like Melvin Gordon came from Wisconsin, where they run a pro-style offense with a fullback in front of, as a matter of fact, he, I think, ran behind Watt his last year at Wisconsin. Don't quote me on that, but he's comfortable running behind a fullback. And some guys are more comfortable running with a fullback in front of them, leading the way as the lead blocker. Other guys are more comfortable seeing the field. They don't want anybody taking them to a hole or bringing any more bodies to a hole. Like Adrian Peterson, for instance, I think he's a much better runner out of single back. I think he prefers not having a fullback, even though he had one at one point in Minnesota, and some of his best running was done with a fullback. I think he actually has said he prefers to run out of single back with no fullback in front of him. Most teams don't use fullbacks anymore. They don't want to dedicate a roster spot to a fullback. They much rather just convert a tight end and have him be more of an H-back. But I like the fullback. I think there is a place in the league for the fullback because, you know, those guys are bangers. You know they're going to sell out on all your special teams. And also, those are the guys you can sneak into the flats because everybody expects them to block. You sneak them into the flat, and they're the guys that can get into the end zone or on a 3rd and 1. They can go play action fake, go bootleg, get them out into space and, you know, get them the rock. So Denver has one as well. I like the fullbacks, but it's a position that has definitely diminished greatly over the years. But Juszczyk is one of the rare ones in the league that can do everything. He can catch it. He can run it. He can block. He is physical on all special teams. That's why he's getting paid the money that he is getting paid. He was outstanding in Baltimore, and he got the big payday in San Francisco. J. Camman says, is winners and losers also on a bye week in week number 12? No, you guys, I'm going to still set that up. You guys can still submit it. I don't know if I'll have time to actually put the actual picks up for you guys to see, but I'll have the picks. I'll be able to enter in the data from the picks. So, nope, that still will be up. We don't skip weeks on that. I just won't be doing any live telecasts. JP says, we got Chiefs versus Rams next Monday night, Lou. The entire sports world and every celebrity and their mama will be watching that one. Golf versus Mahomes, Gurley versus Hunt. It's going to be sick. I agree. And they couldn't talk about it enough tonight. You know, they had at least 4 promos for the game, and they even did a cut-in to where they were showing cut-ups of those teams and what they do well. I'm like, you do know it's Giants and 49ers tonight, right? So they were excited, and we all are excited. 2 9-1 teams squaring off, 2 high-powered offenses, the likes of which we haven't seen in this league before. At least I can't remember 2 high-powered offenses like this squaring off in the regular season at the height of their powers. Both teams 9-1. Doesn't get much better than that. Should be a lot of fun. J. Camman says, I will admit, I haven't appreciated football as much as I have in previous years. Probably due to the Bills, though. It's depressing. I understand. I've been there as a Redskins fan many a times where your team stinks. And that's why I always tell people, I am a football fan first and a Redskins fan second. Because when you are a football fan first, despite your team stinking and it really making you upset, and at times it is depressing. I'm a football fan, so despite the Redskins not giving me a lot of hope in those years like 2010, like 2013, despite those years, I still had football to fall back on. The rest of the league, it was still enjoyable because I love football so much. Colts fan says, now we finally get to see what Andrew Luck can do with a good O-line. I talked about that on the Lockdown Coverage podcast, so make sure you check that out. If you're a team out there looking for a kicker, I talked about it on the podcast, the Lockdown Coverage. But once the Falcons cut Giorgio Tavecchio, at some point Matt Bryant is coming back. Once they cut loose Giorgio Tavecchio, if I'm a team like the Chargers, like the Bears, I'm not wasting any time. I'm making a beeline for Giorgio Tavecchio. Anyway, Angry Birds of Chaos says, so we won't have any coverage of Chiefs over the Rams game. I want Chiefs to lose. Yep, we won't have any coverage of that. Unfortunately, we've waited so long for that game. And no. We'll get you'll get coverage of that. I think that'll be the last game from Week 11. So you'll get that game. I won't be doing the following week's game, Monday night game. I won't be doing any of the Thursday night games. So I won't be doing anything from Week 12. You'll get everything from Week 11. So that Monday night game is Week 11. Nothing from Week 12. I'm off on a bye week, Week 12. So you won't get any Thursday night football breakdowns. So no Thanksgiving breakdowns. And we're going to have some dandies on Thanksgiving. You're going to have Bears and Lions. You're going to have Redskins, Cowboys. Ding, 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 ding. You're going to have Saints and Falcons. Ding, 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 ding. But you won't get any breakdowns from me on those. You'll have a Sunday night game. No breakdown there. You'll have a Monday night game. No breakdown there. So that's how it'll go. Black L.A.B. says, Bengals hired Hugh Jackson as their OC. Fair or foul? Fair. Absolutely. That's where he came from. And, you know, brothers always hiring brothers. I always encourage it. Remember, that's where Hugh was at before, and that's where he went back. Look, I've always told dudes, man, it's okay to go home, man. You know? It's always good to go home. You know when it's over? When you can't go back home. When they tell you it's not safe to come home, and you're not laughing saying, you know when I heard that when I was back home? If you're not saying that, then it's time for you to actually go home. Pack your things and go home if you can't go home. He went home. Good for him. That's how you stay employed in this league. Just like you see with the Patriots. One of their assistant coaches get fired or a head coach somewhere gets fired. Where do they go? Back to New England. Why? Because they can go. You can always go back home, man. When you can't go home, you've got a problem. JP says, can't believe Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and the playoffs are almost upon us. Where did the damn time go? Which is why I'm explaining to you, cherish this football. Because before you know it, it'll be Valentine's Day and you'll be like, shit, we got no more football. No more football. No more college, no more NFL. All you got is the draft. And I know a lot of you love it. It's not the same. Oh, but we will have a new football league this year. The American Alliance Football League. will be up. I don't know if you're gonna watch. I'm gonna check it out though and see what it's about. Anyway, running out of time, so I'll skim through these and try to pick out as many as we can. Colts fan says Darius Leonard gonna be a superstar in a few years. I love Darius Leonard. I loved him coming out of South Carolina State. Wanted my Redskins to draft him. That's been a great pick for the Indianapolis Colts. Reese says Fitzpatrick is turning the ball over just as much as Jameis, Lou. I hear you, but he's more elusive and he's more dynamic than Jameis is. All right? Jameis is a guy that if he turns it over 3 times in a game, you're going to lose that game 35-13. If Ryan Fitzpatrick turns it over 3 times, he may still give you a shot to win at the end. Sort of like the Pittsburgh Steelers game. That's the difference between the two. You get turnovers with Jameis, you're going to get your ass beat. You get turnovers with Fitty, you're still going to have a chance to win. You had 4 turnovers versus the Redskins, and you were a, what's the name of it? Jaquiz Rogers fumble away from potentially having it be a 1-score game with a chance to possibly steal it at the end, 17-16. That's what Fitty does for you. Gives you a shot. Captain Spartan says, time to continue the tank. Okay, I'm done with you. JP says, Pro Bowl ballots are open for the fans. Who you voting for? I never vote for the Pro Bowl. I haven't voted for the Pro Bowl since I was like 11, man. Reese says, I wonder if JPP will be extra motivated this week playing the Giants. You know he will. He'd be lying if he said he wasn't. Yeah, he's going to want to kill them. And they've got the offensive line for him to get 3 sacks this week. Colts fan says, Titans always lose against us when Andrew Luck plays. Facts. We'll see if that keeps up this week. Reese says, JPP got a sack versus the Redskins late, right? It may have been something else. No, he didn't get a sack against us. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think he got anything. My man Ty Secchi locked his ass down the entire game. JP says, send Matt Ioannidis to the damn Pro Bowl, Lou. He needs to get the respect he deserves. Hashtag Matt for president. He has been a beast. The real MVP of the team right now, though, is Tress Way. Big D Money says, did you notice Deron Payne really didn't play at all in the second half? I didn't notice that. I didn't notice it as the game was happening, but I saw an awful lot of Stacey McGee in this game, which I was surprised. But they said, you know what I heard too, because I there was a lot made of the snap counts. It was really hot in Tampa. You know, you go from the temperatures being in the low 50s to high 40s to it being an 82-degree day, and with the heat index, it was damn near 100 on the field. Those 300-pound guys were not prepared for a 90-degree day. And so they were really rotating defensive linemen, and I think that's why you didn't see Payne as much in this game. JP says, how the hell does Anthony Barr not have a sack yet? Because they're not blitzing Anthony Barr. He's too busy running 30 yards down the field with running backs and tight ends and getting burnt. Don't ask me why they're doing that. That's just what they've decided to do this year. Anyway, that's all the time I got. And so we're going to get out of here. I really appreciate y'all joining me on a night where it was Giants and 49ers. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to kick it with your man Louie T. And I really appreciate you guys for that. Don't forget to like this video. So hit that thumbs up if you're out there. I only got 9 likes right now, but 58 people watching. Come on, guys. You know the routine. Why do I have to always berate you to get you to hit the like button? Hit the like button. Anyway, subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so. Make sure you check out Lockdown Coverage. That's already up, loaded up to the site on iTunes, on Google Music Play, on Stitcher, I hope. So hopefully it's on all those platforms by now. But you can get it off the site if you can't get it anywhere else. It's available on LouieTNetwork.net. So check out Lockdown Coverage. And remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. And if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage. It could be. I'll see you guys on Thursday Night Football overtime for a really good game with big-time implications. Seahawks hosting the Green Bay Packers. Until then, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. For all you Redskins fans or all you guys that just want to check me out tomorrow, of course, there's the Redskins Report, week number 11 edition. Until then, you guys have a blessed night. Have a good one.
Louie T.
Network.